We've had a great partnership with OpenAI, Dave, for about the last 4 months, and it's been a wild ride. We announced this week that we have onboarded 2,000 advertisers to their platform. And when I say we're a great partner, I would say we think we're a great partner. They've been a great partner to us. But the distinction is that we are integrated with them on the API level. So we're not just an advertiser and bringing demand to them, we're also helping them develop their tech and improve the way that OpenAI advertising works. So that's been a very key moment for us. And we also launched OpenAI globally together, opening up Korea and Japan and the UK, all in that very short period of time. So it's been fun.
Todd, I believe you've argued that discovery is the new performance. Why are the earliest moments of consumer exploration becoming such a critical opportunity for marketers, and what role does AI play in the shift, and is that also factoring into your partnership?
It's definitely factoring into our partnership. I think to sort of understand this term discovery through the performance lens, you have to think about how performance marketing's been done for many years now. It's always been about finding intent and observing intent and then matching it with the best product or the best service or whatever it is on the other end and converting that user to buy. What's different about AI in general and assistants like OpenAI or GPT is that discovery happens a lot before intent is expressed. So the opportunities to actually create intent are there rather than respond to it. And I'll give you an example. You don't always go with the concept of asking for a comparison between best dog foods for your dog. You might ask GPT, what do I do if my dog's sick and throws up, almost every time it eats? And GPT is going to take you through a multi-turn conversation about the different things you can do to solve that problem. Now that's a great opportunity for a seller of dog food that is doing something that might solve the problem to get in that conversation. And it really is a totally different way to respond to a consumer, at least in the performance context, than before. That's discovery.
Todd, let's explore how those conversations can really expand the role that marketers play. In particular, we generally think of AI compressing the consumer journey. So does the traditional funnel work, or does it need reinvention?
That's a really interesting point. A lot of people bring that up to me, this idea that we're going to zero-click commerce and everything is going to be jammed together, and we don't subscribe to that, and we have a lot of evidence to back it up. We still see retailer experiences thriving. There's a lot to that. There's the loyalty of that you have with a favorite retailer or marketplace that might be driving it. There's convenience in shipping and not just selection, other things that you might buy with. So the idea that everything is going to be somehow magically compressed is not what we're seeing, in practice. What we are seeing is that there's an opportunity to take these new discovery type setups and turn them into either a shorter customer journey or shopper journey, if you will, depending on what the item is, or to bring incremental demand from that particular experience into the retailer. So a good example, just to pay it off statistically, we're seeing 80% of traffic from OpenAI landing on our retail partners as being net new to brand. So just think about that for a moment. If you're looking at a surface where a conversation's happening and you're getting 80% new people to a brand, that is a super powerful signal. So we don't see the compression, we sort of see the two working well together to grow the pie rather than to shrink it down.
Todd, how do you measure success when influence is happening earlier in that consumer journey and intent maybe hasn't fully formed yet?
By partnering with folks like OpenAI, we get the visibility to see how certain hints from a chat or a conversation would maybe impact a larger amount of purchase. So it all comes down to measurement. This is an environment where we've seen the movie play before. Social was a net new thing not too long ago, where everyone was very focused on how's that going to change the entire shopper journey. It turns out that it will, play a big role, but it's not going to replace everything. So what we learn is two things from working with OpenAI. One is we see how organic traffic is going to our points of purchase. We have 17,000 customers in my business. So we get to observe how organic traffic is coming, and now we get to observe how paid traffic is coming to those points of purchase, and through measurement to be able to say which one is doing more selling, which one's more working media, if I can use an old term. And seeing those two things together is super powerful. So it's early days in terms of how that's going to show up as a full-on performance routine, but because we can see the two together and measure them, we are already seeing the path for how to monetize better for every one of our sellers.
So, Todd, even though, as you mentioned, these are still in some ways early days, even as AI has become so fully entrenched in everyone's lives and in everyone's business.
Right.
As brands race to continue experimenting with AI and trying to reach those practical moments, what's the biggest misconception or mistake you think marketers risk making over the next 12 to 24 months?
I think it's probably what we just talked about, which is that AI is somehow an assistant, as a one-trick pony for the do part of marketing. I think of it as an opportunity to express, think, feel, and do all in one place. So in many ways, AI is going to be a stronger machine for brand advertising, meaning a person who's new to a brand, like I was talking about in the dog food context, or new to a product. Because of the conversation, you can reveal these things a very natural way, high up in the funnel. That was an area that was reserved for non-performance advertising for many, many years. And now, because we're able to see those signals and follow them all the way through to the point of purchase, they sort of become one routine, where in the end you're just selling more product, or you're making sure that you're bringing new attention to a brand, all in one shot.
Todd, one more discovery question to throw at you.
Right.
As marketers look to make discovery more measurable and actionable, how is Criteo transforming its offerings to help them succeed in that?
There's a couple of different ways. I'm glad you asked that. One of the biggest challenges our partners have, and they vary from very large enterprises and agencies that serve them to the small to medium-sized businesses. Our business is built to serve each of those different partners in different ways. But at the core of it, we're opening up all of our assets for commerce, the intelligence behind what products are being discovered, what behaviors happen on the point of purchase, in the way that those partners can consume the easiest. So we use MCP to do that, which is Model Context Protocols, so that depending on the product that's coming in, it can be experienced the way our partner wants to experience what we have to offer.